John, let's welcome you in. I want to get your thoughts first, John, because I've already had a chance to chat with James over here.
We need the Diego, please.
I mean, my thought is a win is a win is a win. You know, not the prettiest, but look, they're 6-6. They won 2 straight series now. They're in an okay place. You've even, I think, Rojas Castellanos, they got their averages up above 100. You know, we're making some incremental progress here, and you know, a win beats a loss, and 6-6. I know some people like the comparisons, some people hate them, but that's what they did in 2008. After 12 games, they were 6-6. So we have no idea where the season is going to go yet. We have no idea who's going to excel, who's not. These early season numbers, you know, they tell you some things, but it's important not to overreact.
Phillies had 8 hits today, John, and I think the part that's kind of like, I don't know, a little dampening, a little just sad about the win, and I don't want to start negative, but they were all singles. I think a lot of it could probably be contributed to the weather today. It turned into a little bit of a pitcher's mutters duel with Lance Lynn and his fat ass busting belts, and Aaron Nola giving you a pretty good performance. You know, 8 singles, you're probably not going to win a ton of games normally with just 8 singles. But the Phillies were able to pull it out because I think Aaron Nola gave you a really good start, considering especially the weather today.
Yeah,
Yeah, he really did.
Lance Lynn, screw you, because I'm playing against him in fantasy baseball. He's on my opponent's team this week. But listen, I will say this is a game. You talk about 8 hits today. Well, you had in those 8 hits, it was 6 different guys. Or 7 different guys. Excuse me, math. There's a positive that you saw. Everybody pretty much getting on base, whether it was through walks or hits. We saw the offense contributing. It was a very sloppy game as we expected. I'm just glad as we all are glad they were able to get the game in. But the positive on the flip side of those 8 hits is you got more hits with runners in scoring position. Obviously 0 yesterday. Today the Phillies, at least I think the final was 4, that they ended up with 4 for 9 that it ended up with. So yeah, improvements, progress, guys. Small victories.
Improvements, progress. You know, let's not start planning parade yet, obviously, but you know, they're not buried here in the division. This is better than they started last year. This is okay. I mean, all things considered, not great, not terrible. Let's see where they go from. Let's see where they go from here. And yeah, great job by Nola. He gave up a couple solo home runs. The home run ball continues to plague him. But 2 solo home runs, and he was able to battle through that. And you know, I'll take that from Nola every time.
Yeah, his line today: 6 innings pitched, 3 hits allowed, 2 earned runs on the 2 solo shots, only 3 walks and only 3 Ks. Threw 93 pitches, 54 of them for strikes. His velocity was down a little bit today, but as was Lance Lynn's. So I think you just kind of chalk that up to the weather. You saw how much, what do they call it, diamond dust they were sprinkling out there. Yeah. It was raining pretty much throughout. It looked like it let up a little bit there in the 8th and 9th. You take that game every situation or every day of the week from one of your top pitchers. He kept you in the game. And on the inverse of that, I thought Zach Thompson did a really nice job for the Cardinals, keeping them in that game. And, of course, some of the frustrations are back-to-back strikeouts with the bases loaded. Mm-hmm. That's always enough to make you want to bash your head against the wall.
Yeah, same problems, bases loaded situations. I haven't looked at the numbers recently, but, you know, they've got to be one of the worst teams in the league in these situations.
So we have the numbers, actually.
So here is courtesy of Paul Boye, Baseball Paul on Twitter. Since Bryce Harper's Grand Slam last Tuesday, the Phillies' plate appearances with the bases loaded have gone Marsh foul pop out, Marsh sac fly, 1 run, that's a positive. Turner ground into double play, Stott ground into double play, Schwarber K, Merrifield K, Schwarber K, Turner K.
Mm-hmm. Not good.
I mean, how do you all look at that? Do you think are they pressing? Do you think it's just the luck of the draw?
Bad luck in there, a little bit of pressing.
A little bit of both.
It's like a little bit of everything, probably.
I feel like, to be honest, it's also them trying to strike the fine balance of, being aggressive, chasing balls. I know Nick Castellanos was talking about it. Johan Rojas was talking about it. Rob's been talking about it. Just their philosophy this year has been to be more aggressive, and they're trying to figure out that fine balance of the two. And then, of course, someone like Nick Castellanos, as he was talking yesterday, I know the piece that came out that Todd wrote, I believe it was, mentioning how he's kind of caught overthinking now because of it. It's like, you're trying to balance. You don't want your chase rate to be bad. You want to make sure that you are, able to tweak the areas and making improvement. And yet game after game after game, you're going over. And now it's packing and weighing on you. And so for the Phillies to come into today and the rankings across Major League Baseball where the Phillies stack not good, in Major League Baseball coming into today's game, they ranked 23rd in runs per game at 3.73, 16th in batting average at .235, 15th in on-base percentage, just hovering over 300, and 20th in slugging percentage, around 354, 27th in average exit velocity, 22nd in hard hit rate, 28th in barrel rate, 24th in expected slugging percentage. So it hasn't been a great offensive start for the team. Obviously, we've seen them grind out wins. It's been low-scoring games. It's been down to the wire. It's been games going into the either extra innings or really being decided late. But I think overall, it's for the Phillies trying to find that balance of how do we stay aggressive without continuing to just look lost at the plate.
And what? I read Zolecki's piece. It was fantastic. Great quotes from Castellanos. What I will say is like the idea that, oh no, we have to chase less, and now we're not able to hit for power or really get our good swings off because we're too preoccupied. I don't know if I I don't know if I have a lot of empathy for that. I mean, you've been a professional baseball player for how long? And we're talking about how could I possibly be expected to not chase balls out of the zone, yet still be aggressive when they throw strikes. I don't know, man.
So here's where I kind of get it. Like, you're kind of asking a tiger to change its stripes in a way, and like if you want them to hunt a little bit more intelligently, you might lose some of that aggression. You know what I mean? Like, Nick Castellanos is who he is. He's streaky hot. He's streaky cold. He's rarely in the middle. And I hate to say, like, he's not going to change, but he's probably not going to change. So if you put too much between his ears, I think it takes away from that natural reaction time aggressiveness where he's just thinking too much. Like, I think he needs to just shut his mind off and be like kind of the bimbo home run hitter or doubles hitter that he's been in the past. Like, I just think he's got to be the tiger that's like overly aggressive, and sometimes it's going to bite him in the ass, but a lot of times it's going to do some damage. So like, I kind of get where Castellanos is coming from.
I actually think it also makes sense, not only for Nick, but for Johan. And why we've been seeing, so today's another day. You see Brandon Marsh continues to look good. Yeah. Kyle's been getting singles and looking good. But I think for guys
Kyle
like,
singles.
I know, he's at least not striking out. But for Nick and Johan, those two specifically have been in the slumps a little bit more. And as Nick was talking about, his chase rate's down, but he is more tentative at the plate. And that's Johan as well. They both have that issue because they're caught trying to find that balance of, I want to be aggressive, but I want my chase rate to be down, but I want to do this and it's too much overthinking. Whereas some guys probably are able to, like a Brandon Marsh, for example. And I used to envy these types of athletes, have the ability to just like in one ear, out the other. I'm going to go out there and do what I'm supposed to do. I'm going to show you I should be an everyday player. I'm going to step up and make plays, and I'll figure it out as I go. Whereas some guys are like you mentioned, overthinking it, and now
I don't want Nick thinking at all. I just want him reacting.
Exactly. And I think that's why we've seen him struggling.
I think he gets in trouble when he
shouldn't be a thinker. Right.
Yeah, like unloosen another button, go up there completely thoughtless and hack away, and we'll live with it. Like I
thinking about the scoreboard. He's thinking about his chase rate. He's thinking about being aggressive, but also being timid and stuff. It's too much.
Yeah, I get it. I do think Castellanos seems to be a little bit of a see ball, hit ball kind of guy. Like, don't feed him too much. Now Rojas, I think, is a different situation. He's very early in his career. He's just getting started. They've worked to sort of overhaul his swing, work on him with chase rate. That makes a lot of sense. I think I'm with you all. And maybe just gotta let Nick loose, leave him alone, stop talking to him and analyze him. But hey, look, they both got their averages up into look one. All right, well, it's not great, but it's better than it was. 163 Castellanos, 161 Rojas. But look, that's like 4 times where Rojas was the other day.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's like I went to the dentist recently. My almost 5-year-old has like, a borderline cavity, and they were like, "Dad, you have to get her in the habit now of like brush her teeth until she can fully tie her shoes because we're teaching good dental health." So I think when you're talking about Rojas there to compare the two, like you're teaching him about good hitting.
Right.
You're gonna have to live
Right.
with those lumps
Yeah.
in the time being. But I think what you've seen the last 2 days, hopefully, is a little bit of a corner. Now, Rojas fought one off today. Pretty good at bat. Saw, I want to say 6 or 7 pitches in that at bat. Fought off that little blooper to center field. You've at least seen his bat look a little quicker the last 2 days, and he looks like he's turned the corner into being more aggressive while hopefully taking in all the teaching and learnings he's had from spring training in the first 2 weeks. So Rojas is a very unique case. I think you just you live with the lumps, and it looks like hopefully here, knock on wood, he's turning a little bit of a corner with his aggressiveness.
Yeah, that's the decision they made. I mean, if you're going to, it was either start him in AAA or start him in the majors. And if you start him in the majors, you can't panic after 10 games and send him back down. So, yeah, you got to take those lumps. And, he's not going to learn to hit major league pitching in AAA. And it seems like he's getting there a little bit. Was it yesterday that he had maybe his 2 hardest hit balls of the season? So better now. It's April. If you can live with his offense for a while, and the players, the veterans in the lineup that should really be contribute. You can live with Rojas struggling a bit now, and hopefully you have him in a good place down the stretch and in the postseason.